Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Women's Wellness Lounge. I'm your host, Delana Watkins, and we are in our final week of the She Is series during Women's History Month. And I'm not going to quite say that I saved the best for last, but I really feel like I saved the best for last. Tonight's special guest is Dr. Timekia RahShell. And here's what I want to tell you about her. She is what I call the queen of wellness because I feel that the area that she focuses on truly delves into the essence of a woman. And we're going to dive into that tonight during our discussion because there's nothing like being able to understand that you must heal, dig deep to be well. So, throughout the whole month, I've been giving you different aspects and different areas about what it means to be well and just really becoming the whole She Is series as we look at Women's History Month. And so tonight's special guest, I'm going to be bringing her on. She is got a lot of knowledge, as I said before, but what I specifically want you to know is that she deals with women in our reproductive health, right? And so we know that that's truly a sensual, feminine area of healing that has to take place. She's not only a yoni doctor, she's a master herbalist. And as I said before, dealing with that and really getting to the root sometimes and the cause of issues is what I feel like her specialty is. So without further delay, I want to introduce to you guys our special guest. And her name, as I said before, is Dr. Timekia RahShell. Good evening. How are you? And welcome.
Greetings, hello, and gratitude. Thank you for having me on tonight. And greetings to everyone that's watching. I am honored that you are here and even for the opportunity to be able to give some information that will be pertinent to your health and wellness, as well as moving forward to give to other people that you may know. As we know, there are women all over the place.
Yeah.
So I hope that you tune in, get your notepad, because I will drop some jewels tonight as we proceed in this session. So gratitude for having me, Delana. I appreciate you.
Absolutely welcome. See, just in that opening, you guys should be like running to get your notepads, as she said, opening up the notes on your phone and just taking a deep breath and really getting ready to receive the knowledge that we will be sharing tonight in the dialogue that we're going to be having. A lot of times, just thinking about women sitting still long enough to put themselves on their own schedule, right? Put themselves first, really stopping long enough to tune in to see what we truly have going on. We find that difficult. It oftentimes comes as a chore for us to even do that. We even have some guilt associated with doing that. So I want us to kind of start there. I want us to start the conversation with really giving women permission to sit down and put themselves first and to really understand what it means to heal and what does that look like, because it's going to look different for everyone. But can we start the conversation there? Just open up and really giving women the permission to sit down and say, it's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to say that I need help. So let's start there.
Okay, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dr. Timekia RahShell. I am the owner of Supreme Naturalz, where we specialize in holistic female wellness and usher women into healing through doing vaginal steaming. So I utilize a 3-step system, which is mental release, physical release, and then, of course, the yoni steaming. This journey for me started back in 2016 when I was previously diagnosed with 3 fibroids while living abroad in Puerto Rico. And today, fast forward, I was able to also heal myself of those fibroids introduced through vaginal steaming from one of the ladies that was living in Puerto Rico as something that they had practiced in their culture. And long story short, I was able to, I went to my appointment where I was scheduled initially to have surgery to have the fibroids removed, to find out that all of my holistic wellness, by changing my diet, nutrition, also by doing the vaginal steaming, meditating, praying, and also releasing things that was held dormant in my womb space that I had kind of swept under the rug for many years. As we know, as women, we have a tendency to do. Found out that I was healed within a 3-month time span, shared that information publicly, and that's where my journey began. In fact, I was able to request a release from active duty to pursue my purpose and passion, and led me on a journey to be able to assist now over 1,200 women, and 59 of them I have successfully helped to conceive naturally. These are women that had been diagnosed with things like PCOS, endometriosis, painful menses, irregularities due to perimenopause, you name it, bacterial vaginosis, reoccurring yeast infections, and things of that nature. So I sought out, obtained another doctorate, and now I am currently in school pursuing my third doctorate. I have two, well, my second scholastic one is which I'm pursuing. My other one is a doctorate that was pretty much conferred upon me as being a wellness and health expert in the community as well as online social media. So this third one, I'm working with traditional Chinese medicine and also acupuncture. So this will be my final time. So what I have realized on this journey is that one of the main things that we as women suffer with is just being able to, number one, look ourselves in the mirror and identify that we do have issues that are lying dormant in our womb space. And not only that, also sweeping that thing under the rug, going about your day, jumping into different relationships and marriages, and just having, even you think back to just childhood trauma, some of the things that we never dealt with. So those are some of the areas that I had to personally heal on this journey, and also be able to release from myself, because I don't know if you all are aware, but your womb space is the most creative and most powerful part, essence of a woman. And in fact, anything that you do in life is created and manifested from your womb space. Think of how powerful it is that when you conceive, you give birth, you create life, right? And whatever you're putting, imparting into that child at the time is going to also carry over into their life stream. So one of the main things I want you all to do is just kind of do a self-evaluation. Take time to actually see and evaluate where it is that you are in your life. What is it that you have not dealt with that is going to be important for you to either release or even identify that you need to work on? And self-care is one of those areas where you actually have to put your schedule. I call it scheduling your time, scheduling that self-care time on your calendar. So if it's in the morning or even if it's at night, me personally, I do both, because I know that in order for me to thrive and continue to grow and to be a blessing and a gift to other people, that I need to put myself first. I do have 3 children, my youngest being 2 years old, my oldest is 11. And with that is a very demanding homeschooled type of environment, right? And then full-time business owner and so many other things, full-time school. So I have to have a great support system, and scheduling my time with me where I sit in a moment of silence, actually doing that mental releasing, evaluating myself, journaling, actually scripting out my life, and then evaluating what are some areas in my life where I actually have missed it, and what are some areas that need to be improved, right? And just being real with myself. And that's the same
Absolutely.
thing that other women that I have worked with have noticed, identifying the traumas, identifying the areas where they need self improvement, and actually taking the initiative and step to be able to go on the journey of holistic health and wellness as a woman.
Right. And you said so many things, and I'm over here like backstage, like shaking my head, like she is really hitting home. And a lot of it, like you said, self-care, we all understand that, but do we actually do it? The other piece of it
Exactly.
is evaluating where you are. And that to me is the truth of essence, is really just being able to, and I keep using this word, I say that's kind of, this is going to be like my motto or my phrase for 2022 is the whole lean in. And I think
Yes.
that's what I've been trying to do is lean into more of my truth, lean in to be more vulnerable, leaning into learning new things or trying to do things a different way. Um, and allowing myself even, because sometimes we get used to doing things a certain way, or we figure this worked for me last year, so it should keep continuing to work this year, rather than reevaluating what isn't working for you in this season of your life, what isn't serving you. How can you do that different? How can you do that better? What can you do to allow yourself to be able to show up in a greater way in the world? And so the only way for us to really do that is if we're truthful with ourselves and if we're paying attention. Um,
Yes, I call that the identity upgrade. That kind of goes,
yes.
it go hand in hand for what you're actually, your message out to the
Mhm.
people is just identity upgrade. And identity upgrade, sometimes that looks like purging yourself, stripping yourself of what you know or what others know of you to be. Even for those that are married, those that are
Mhm.
dating, those that are single, it's necessary for us to do self evaluation and then go into what I call the identity upgrade. What are areas that are working or not working, and be real about that. That mirror, as Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror, that
Yeah.
thing is a powerful thing. And then as women, identifying how is it that I am operating on a regular basis, and you don't know if you're even operating from the masculine or feminine energy.
Right.
That's another area where we
Mhm.
need to also give attention to, and then just cogitate upon what are some tools and measures and things that I need to put in place to be able to tap into that femininity, to be able to usher myself into healing,
Mhm.
making sure I'm healthy and whole, and just look at your life in every single area. And I will tell you, even women that are in business, that are entrepreneurs, one of the main things is that even with the entrepreneurship, your creativity, your ability to
Mhm.
align. I can't stand to
Yeah.
see people out here saying, I'm hustling, this and that. No, I'm a woman and my feminine energy precedes me. My feminine energy is my currency as a woman.
Oh,
Okay. And so knowing that that is actually created from my womb space, I can't have junk and bondage and soul ties and baggage that is in my womb space, knowing that the creativity that lies within my womb space is going to be that actually develops and also generate the wealth that you actually need into your life and those business opportunities, the contracts, and those things. So I just wanted to share that with you. So think about that. Write down identity upgrade. Do you need to upgrade your identity? And that doesn't mean just the physical side of things, but that stuff that we dealt with, that we haven't dealt with possibly on the inside, where you have to actually go within yourself and be real with self, even if you have to script it out, write it out, talk to yourself in the mirror, put up stickies, affirm yourself, and know which direction that you're going on.
absolutely. And again, just with that, I had to highlight you because you said some amazing thing. Generational, and I hate to say curses, but a lot of times, when you say it like that, people's ears perk up and they can relate to that and understand it. But generational behaviors that really don't serve us in the space in which you're in now, being able to break away from those things and learn and adopt and embrace healthier behaviors, healthier habits, so that we're creating a legacy, right? That
Yes.
speaks to our children and our children's children's to say that this is how we should live in a healthy space. This is what it looks like to embrace yourself. This is what it looks like to break away from trauma. And so I
Mhm.
think that certainly we have the tools and the strength necessary to do that.
Yes.
I do know that our ancestors were living in a different time. And yes, a lot of them weren't able to find their voice, maybe didn't have the resources. And so, yes, there was a lot of, as you stated before, a lot of damage done in the womb space. But we have the ability to shift that. We have the ability
Mhm.
to change that. And we have the ability to make an identity upgrade, right?
Yes.
For sure. So, if one of our listeners that are tuning in today live, or whether they're watching us on the replay, listening to the podcast, if a woman is out there saying, I hear exactly what you ladies are saying to me right now, and you're speaking to me, What is it that she can do right now at this very moment as they're tuning in that can help them to get on a path to being healthy and whole?
Okay, so number one, I would say just stop and breathe.
Right.
Stop and breathe and know that it's okay to take rest. It is okay for you to not have it all together. And then, not only that, put yourself in a space where you can be honest with yourself. Okay, so number one, you want to stop and breathe, and then you want to affirm that I love myself, I appreciate myself, and then also touch your wound space and offer and express gratitude for your wound, for being a space of love and peace, and then also of power and creativity. And then after you've done all of that, take action to do the physical work, the physical side of things, even if it's yoni steaming, if it's going to the spa to get massages, if it's making sure that your diet and nutrition, which is a very, very important part of being a holistic and health and whole woman, and even your femininity, because like I tell other women all the time, your body is your temple. So what you put in your body also matters. It's either when you eat, are you eating to actually nourish that beautiful flourishing garden, or are you eating to actually create and add to the graveyard of your body? So you want to become conscious of what it is that you're putting in your body. What is it that you're listening to, and what are you seeing, as an individual? Sometimes we're around toxic individuals. So evaluating the circle, and then also your environments of where you're working, people that you're allowing in your life. And then sometimes this is going to be an interesting one, your partner. What are some things that they have dealt with that when you come together and copulate, that may be transferred to you? Because a lot of people will go through healing, as a woman, and then they go and involve themselves, or they are married and they go through healing and they go and copulate with their significant other. And what happens is they expose themselves to additional trauma, right? Because whether people believe it or not,
Yeah.
energy, when you have what I call sex, is sacred energy exchange, right? So when you lay down and you copulate and you have that amazing fire burning and desire
Uh-huh.
experience with your partner, that's transferable, the things that they have experienced. And if they have not dealt with any of those things, that energy also is transferred to you. So there. And then of course, drinking water. I was looking for my water. I usually have a glass of water with me, but drinking water on a regular basis,
Mhm.
and then making sure that you nourish and nurture your physical and inner body.
Absolutely. All of those steps, even if you aren't able to tackle each of them, take
At
one.
least one.
Right, one. One can change the trajectory of your tomorrow, right? And then going into your future. And that's what I always say, to Miki, and I know you do the same with your clients. We've been in the same space and we think very, very similarly as it relates to this topic and as it relates to trying to get, women to understand that healing and wholeness really is something that they should always strive for. And so when we
It's
do
a
that,
lifestyle.
yeah, it's a lifestyle. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yes, it may seem like a lot of work. It may seem like, in the initial phase of it that it's cumbersome. But one thing's for certain, and two things for sure, that when you make it become your lifestyle, it is something that it is become just as simple as breathing. You will no
Mhm.
longer think of it as a chore. You will no longer think of it as, oh my goodness, I've got to do this or that. Instead, you will reframe it and you will reframe your thinking to become, oh, I
Naturally.
must do this,
Yes, you
that.
can't live without it.
Yes, can't live without it, right? Am I speaking to the people?
Yes. And when
Absolutely.
it's out of alignment, it's like, what is wrong? What is it that I'm not doing that I should be doing? And you go, oh, I didn't take that moment to just breathe,
Mm.
which is a very powerful exercise for some, even if those that, have a job. And I know now that they are incorporating that into the school system, but just taking that moment to say, inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth, that right there will
Yeah.
allow for you to even think clearly.
Mhm. And it sounds so
Definitely.
small, but I promise you that it can have a major impact. Like I have an app on my phone that on my phone that then sends to my watch. It reminds me my day can get hectic, it can get busy, but as soon as that pops up and it'll say mindfulness and it'll say time to stop and take a breath. And I actually do it. I don't care if I'm on a conversation, on a call in the middle of a conversation, if I'm in the midst of typing an email, whatever I may be doing, because I witnessed the effectiveness of it, I take it serious. And so I do take that moment to, like Timekia said, inhale and exhale. It helps me even reframe my thinking, my thoughts,
Mhm.
and then even where I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very powerful. So now I want to shift the conversation just a tad bit. I always try to give, of course, the good, the bad, the ugly. And sometimes we focus on the good too much that we don't talk about the ugly, or we may lead with the ugly and then try to get to the good. So I just want to shift a little bit and kind of talk about some of the things that may occur if we don't do some of the things that you and I just talked about and identified. What does a woman's lifespan look like? What does her, future look like? What does her environment, maybe her relationships, her children? What does some of the things that may be impacted? What does that look like when we don't take the time to become healthy and whole and heal?
Okay, so one is that a lack of the ability to grow and thrive as a woman. I will share something very intimate with me. I dealt with some childhood trauma, and now that I am a mom, and I had to realize that I had to release those areas that were of concern for me. As a new mom, it's like you don't get a second chance at being a mom. And when I say second chance, like a redo with that child. So I wanted to make sure that I was developing a healthy lifestyle, a healthy mental for my children. So things that I may have experienced, like my parents yelling at me or physically striking me, whippings as they call them, and then just not saying things to build them up. I wanted to ensure with my children that I spoke to them in a space of love and allow for a flow that will allow them to actually communicate, because their thoughts matters as well, and then allow their creativity to flourish and not me just impart my traditional beliefs on them. And that was a part of me even transitioning from religion to more spirituality, where I did more of meditating and self-awareness. Also, relationship trauma, evaluating. Now, this one here, I will tell you, it's going to take some time of nourishing and nurturing yourself and being real with yourself, because nobody wants to be told that, hey, you are the reason why this and that didn't work or something failed, right? So I had to go back and evaluate, even with my ex-husband, my previous marriage. What were some areas that I could have improved on, or some areas that I missed the mark? And one of the main things was operating in that masculine energy. When you have a man that is the man, he's the protector, the provider, he's also there to support you, and you as the woman, you're negating all of that. It's like, I got it myself, I'm doing it, and just not allowing for a space to be able to affirm him, a space of peace. So that was another area that I had to work on, and it could cause definitely trauma, and in my case, the end of the relationship or the end of the marriage that didn't have to be, but I had to grow. I had to become aware of what it is that I needed to work on. And then continuing on in relationships, passing on trauma after trauma, especially when you open up to copulate with someone, and just not being able to have time to clear yourself, evaluate the situations. And then when you think about your careers or your business, what are some areas that require improvement there? If you do not go with a clear mental mindset, setting intentions, being positive, or creating balance, then it will create chaos for you, right? So you go on that job with an attitude, oh, I don't want to be here,
Mhm.
and you don't realize that that same energy that you are relaying and putting forth into the universe and the atmosphere, you're going to attract more of that low vibrational behavior into your life and those experiences. So identifying and being conscious and intentional to the words that you say and the things that you do, even in the
Mhm.
career and business. I will say, even with me working with women, holistic holistic health and wellness when there are times where I maybe personally, because I'm not exempt from going through life
Right.
challenges and experiences, right? So when I'm at those points and spaces, I will remove myself. I don't touch herbs. I don't do
Yeah.
appointments or consultations so that I can work on myself and align myself, because what I
Mhm.
know is that the energy that I do, what I do, is going to be transferable even into my clients, right? So I
Absolutely.
have to make sure that I'm going into a space and a place of peace and love. And then if I am going through something that's a test and a trial that
Hmm.
may be chaotic, taking a moment to breathe,
Right.
evaluating the situation, and knowing that everybody that comes to you that may have an attitude, they may be outbursting and lashing out to you, it's not even about you.
No.
It could be simply the trauma that they have not dealt with, that they are actually projecting towards you. So stop taking things so personal, because
Yeah.
it may not be about you.
Absolutely. And I know that that is very difficult for some people, especially like you said, if they are in a place where they have trauma that has not been dealt with or even revealed, or
Right.
just really understanding that. So sometimes just that having that
Because
whole,
some people just don't know. These are
yeah,
things that people just
yeah,
haven't been aware of. And unless they seek out and truly want to evolve and transform their life, they may never know unless they come across
yeah,
someone like yourself or me. And
yeah,
it's like, wait a minute, I didn't even realize that I was operating in
yeah,
masculine energy. How many times do you go to the grocery store and
mhm,
they offer to take your grocery out to the vehicle, and you're like, oh no, I got it.
I got
No,
it.
not me.
Yeah,
Please assist me. Even when I'm in the market and it could be a man with his wife, I
yeah,
ask, excuse me, your husband assist me to get water down, stuff where I don't have to lift as
right.
a feminine woman. Allow yourself to live in that poise, that grace, that
Absolutely.
wisdom that we have as women that are innately inside of us. You just got to tap back into it and
Yeah.
be able to say, listen, I know this how I used to do in the past,
Yep.
but
But
we
not.
doing an identity upgrade and we releasing some of those old habits in order to be transform your life. And then you realize that I'm attracting more of peaceful, happy, balanced things in my life, my career, my husband, he all under me now, my partner,
Yes.
my
Right.
children are obedient, and
Hmm.
they are in a space of peace. And it's just a total alignment, not
Yeah.
grinding, but total alignment in your life.
Right. And you have to really be open to that. But like you said, sometimes because we have been given this perception or the
Hmm.
messaging that for women, oh, she's, strong, or she's, capable, or she's, the super mom or the hero. We have been kind of to our detriment, sort of living up to those expectations, I feel, at some time. And so
Yes.
we have to be able to, and I'm going to say it again, lean in to the fact that
Mm.
you do not have to be strong. You can allow someone else to take the lead. You can allow someone else to assist you in areas in which, yes, girlfriend, we know you can be strong. Yes,
Resilient.
we
Yes,
know you
we
can be,
all.
yes, resilient, but it's okay. Your strength will come through on the other side. Use that
Yes.
energy for something else.
Absolutely. And I call that, even with women, they say, oh, I'm strong, independent. I say, no, you don't want to be a strong, independent
Mhm.
woman. You want to be a resilient, interdependent, meaning that you can open up and offer for others to, or ask for others to actually assist you on this journey. Because the truth of the matter is, we all need someone.
Oh, yeah, honestly. And because I've been guilty of it too. So I am speaking my truth from a place of just
Hey,
thinking I needed to show up in the space. No, I got it. You need, nope, I got that too. I can do it.
yes.
Let me show you I can do it, right?
When I went into that, it was like a load lift off me. It's like, oh, it
Yeah.
was this easy all along.
All along, you were kind of bucking up against your own system and like bang your head up against the wall to show that it
Yes.
works and that you can bleed, right? So yeah, allow us not to do those things, right? Those are what I call the weapons that have been formed against us in some way,
Yes.
shape, or form, for us to
Hmm.
feel that in order to sort of live up to the expectation that we're capable and able, and that we can be productive and reproduce and be strong, is that we have to be those things. And I think, like Tamikia said, being able to show that we're resilient and interdependent, that to me is sexy and showing strength.
Yes,
Be
absolutely.
able to bow down to that. So just before we wrap up, I want to because when we talk about the yoni and when we talk about vaginal steaming, I have to get this in on this conversation because you to me are like the queen of that. I rely wholeheartedly on your knowledge. You know, you and I have been in intimate space together, and I know for certain that you don't speak things, and like you say, you don't do this negative transference of energy, and that you take your work with the womb and with healing very seriously. So, talk to us a little bit about the importance of the yoni and what does an actual vaginal steaming look like? Because again, I think mainstream sort of miss the mark a lot of times, especially in the women of color in our communities as to what that all means and what does it look like. So before we wrap up this session on you know healing, I would like for you just to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so with vaginal steaming, aka yoni steaming, or whatever you may see it out there listed as, I want to drop a name for you, that we can all go back, and J. Marion Sims is the founder of gynecology. So to start there, to do your research and find out what it is that he actually did. We have this tendency to say that things that are holistic is alternative care, when actuality it's not. Okay, it's actually the care that we should have been doing, but we were given alternative treatments and care, like, i.e., now, don't get me wrong, it is important to go have your physical exams and things of that nature done. But there are some other measures and things that were in place ancient time that we used to practice as women. And vaginal steaming is an ancient practice. In fact, being in this business and profession for so long, I have not found the beginning date. And I talked to my grandmother to discover that my great grandmother used to also, as an unpracticed midwife, used to also administer vaginal steam sessions. So it's a very ancient practice. And what vaginal steaming does is it ushers into holistic healing, tightening, toning, refreshing, clearing. And when I say clearing, energetic clearing of things that no longer serves the womb space. It helps to also keep for a natural, healthy menses, which is your period, as we know of. And that's one thing that we have to get away from saying as women, because men used to identify us being on a certain period of time where we were off limits to copulate with back in the past. And so when they were conversed as men and discussing that, they would say she's on that period. So now we as women call it a period when it's actually the menses, the time where you're actually cleansing and releasing from yourself, the endometrium lining. And then for those that are in the mature phase, I call it though that third golden opportunity of life, where you go into perimenopausal. How is that beneficial for you? That is the opportunity for you to tap into that next level, those three golden opportunities, that third level of your life as a feminine woman, to say, okay, now that I have gone from the phase of being able to conceive, what is it that I want this next chapter to look like? And you too should be practicing vaginal steaming, because it helps to balance the hormones and help for eliminating osteoporosis, excuse me, when your hormonal levels and things change at that time. So vaginal steaming is important for those women. And of course, my daughter, she's 11. She's been steaming actively for since she was 7 years old. And the reason why is because I need to make sure that she is nurturing and getting a healthy womb before she even go into that phase of conception as a woman, right? And when we do that, we prepare our daughters, we educate them on the need to stay sacred, if that's, educating them of why it's important. I know in the church they teach, oh, no fornicating and no premarital sex, but why? Because she's sacred. And when she exposes her body to other energies, that has a impact on her growth and development, and even the creativity as a young girl and woman as well. So you want to guard the pearly gates, ladies, with all cause and all
Yes,
power that you have for your own creativity when it comes to vaginal steaming. It's an amazing experience. It's
yes, it is.
rejuvenating. And also know, I know that there may be a lot of people out there talking about vaginal steaming, but there is a protocol for vaginal steaming. You don't
Mhm.
just get up and do vaginal steaming.
Right.
When you go to these different spas, know some of the things to look for. Are they doing intake consultations on you? Are they
Mhm.
tailoring the herbs specific to your need? Okay. And then also, is there a follow up regimen or protocol in place so that you will know how to actually go about this journey of holistic female wellness? These are things that I teach to the women that that come to me as clients, and then even those that I certify as practitioners. So there is a way to do a thing, and then there's the right way, the professional, the serious way of doing things. And so you want to make sure that those things are in place even when you go into spas, because there are a lot of them out there that's just doing steaming, but not with guidance or protocols in place to
Mhm.
be able to actually get the full benefit that you would as an individual. So you want to think about your experience with steaming should be exquisite and also tailored to your needs, to
Yes.
evaluate your total wellness as a woman. It could be all the way back from age 13 or when you started your menses up to today, or even when you're in that menopausal phase as well.
That is so important. And again, yes, I'm going to toot her horn because I was one of her students and went through the vaginal steaming certification. And she's very, very
Mhm.
detailed and expresses how that's so important. Even going in as a healthcare provider myself, thinking that, oh, I understand, completely the whole female reproductive system. And yes, no, there were things that I learned. And just even talking about the feminine energy piece of it, that's something that has to be learned in a different space because it wasn't taught to me as I was going through, nursing school. Yes, you understand about the whole reproductive system, but what she's referring to with the feminine energy is oh so true when you're really talking
Yes.
about getting that historical point of view of what that looks like for a woman and understanding the difference between reference it as menses versus a period. So thank you so much for that. And then you actually went into everything that I really wanted you to share without saying, don't go to those places that just want to sit you on like a sitz bath and throw some herbs in there and tell you just to sit on
And
top
say
of
steam. No,
the
ma'am.
steam, right? So it's a lot deeper than that. And
Think of yourself as you know that you are a royal being. We all
yes,
are royal beings, and you want the most elaborate, exquisite experience as possible. You want everything catered and tailored to you. And if it's that is not that experience, then I would tell you to walk out the door
then don't do it.
quickly and don't look
Mm-hmm.
back.
Well,
Find somewhere that there are a lot of them out there that are certified
mm-hmm.
and truly take this profession serious, and not just doing it for a trend or hype or because it's become the new thing to do to open up in the wellness space of women.
Exactly, right. Which we know, again, as a lot of people will take that on because it can become trendy. Things do become trendy and they catch fire, and then it loses its meaning. And then along the
Hmm.
way, it loses its effectiveness because we have so many people doing it that it becomes this infected
Yes.
cesspool, kind of, for lack of a better term. But that's what happens is you have people out there really just taking away from its originality and from honestly what it should be doing because it can be very effective if done properly. So,
Yes. And sacred, very
mhm,
sacred.
mhm, absolutely. And I know for sure that you do. So I want to put your website up and then I want you to let everyone know how they can get in touch with you. I'm going to put your website up on the screen, but just tell them where they can find you on social media, as well as where you are locally if someone wants to come and get a consultation with you as well.
Okay, so we are, of course, you can always find us hashtag Supreme Naturals or at Supreme Naturals, and that's with a Z, okay, on all of the social media platforms. So that's from IG, TikTok, Facebook, search Supreme Naturals with a Z, and then, of course, the website at supremenaturals.com. And I am currently residing in Dothan, Alabama. That was my last, I am prior military 14 years. So that was my last duty assignment. So I'm currently here. So we have a spa that is downtown Dothan that you can also pay visit. And the address and information is located on our website for those that are interested And then you can also schedule consultations there. If you want a free chat for about 15 minutes, you can schedule that as well. And we have also products that you can order. But when I say with the products, I always want to speak to the ladies so I can ensure that, okay, you're ordering a steaming spoon with herbs and yoni wash and oil, but what is it that you truly need it for? So just keep that in mind when you do place your orders
Mhm.
for that as well. It's important to have a protocol in place for those individuals and not just be doing things that you may not know how to properly do things.
I like that. And again, like she said, she's not necessarily in this for the profit, but to understand and work with women to help them get on a path of becoming healed and whole. And so that's what I
Yes.
like. Some people will just have a website up, have the products allow you to purchase them, have them shipped to you, and just kind of keep it moving without necessarily having that conversation or having that follow up to understand why they're ordering it, what is it that they need, or maybe guiding them or giving them some additional information behind the products that they receive. And that's, again, another reason why I wanted to have you on the show, is because I know, again, that you're not just pushing a product, pushing a service, and or
Right.
putting out misinformation.
Right. Solutions and resolutions, for the clients. And that's one of my main things is if I can't be a solution to the
Mhm.
masses, why am I in business? You know?
Right? No, not at all. So again, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the
Yes.
show with us this evening. From the beginning to the very end, you have been excellent, dropping those nuggets as I knew that you would, giving actionable things that people can do today. Just by listening
Mhm.
to us, you can institute some of the things that she shared earlier in our conversation, as well as looking her up on her website to find out how you can have a conversation with her, to do a consultation, to begin to heal again in your womb trauma, some things that you may be dealing with, or not recognizing those things that you have not dealt with. So,
Yes.
again, that's a very deep conversation. And that's why it was important for me to end tonight's show, really the series, with this conversation. So, everything that we talked about from the very first show in March during the She Is series, all the way up to tonight's episode of becoming whole and healed as well as healthy. Is part of what we need to do to create this healthy legacy. When we talk about what are our daughters seeing, what are our grandchildren going to see when they look at us, what are we modeling? What are we leaving them to model after? We have to be sure we're not
Excuse me.
being seen as, wanting to be strong, resilient. She said, become resilient and interdependent, and not being seen as this woman. No, I got it. I can do it. Don't worry. It's fine. No, lean in to your femininity and allow men to step forward in their masculinity and allow them to assist you. Allow yourself to be able to ask for help when you need it. You not have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders to prove that you can do it. We know that we're capable of doing it. We know that we know how to. If there's not a table, as they said before, we can build a table and some chairs to sit at the table as well. However, when we stop and take a moment, take that deep breath in, and become still, we know that there's other ways to get to the same point in time without having to wear ourselves thin doing it. It has been a pleasure to speak with you guys tonight. I'm so glad that you tuned in live, or if you're listening to the replay or watching the replay, thank you so much for joining us. You can learn more about our organization, the Women's Wellness Lounge, by visiting womenswellnesslounge.org. And I also want you to know that if you have a story to share, if you have a story of truth, trauma, or triumph, we are still looking for authors in our third book, the anthology, the final anthology in the She Is series. And it's on the feminine evolution, sharing your truth, your trauma, or exposing your triumph. Either way, we would love for you to join us in this final, and it will be an international book. We already have two international authors that will be sharing their stories with us. So I would love for you to join us. We have about 7 more spaces left in our book. So again, go to sheiswellbooks.com to secure your chapter in that book. And of course, it would be, as the visionary author, of this book, I would love to have you there. We do a wonderful job of making sure that if you've never written before, we provide you with all the support and services that you need. So again, just go to sheiswellbooks.com. Once again, thank you, Dr. Timekia RahShell, for imparting that amazing wisdom and knowledge. You know, I love you, Queen. I appreciate you for taking the time out with us today. You guys, we will be back again next Wednesday at 7 p.m. We are going into April, which is National Minority Health Month. And so I will be bringing on some more amazing guests, again, talking about us having equal access to health. What does health look like in the community for women of color? And what are some of the top major problems that we are continuing to battle and overcome as it relates to our health and wellness in the month of April? So I'll see you guys then. Have a great evening.